Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is John Larry, and in this video today I'll be showing you how to draft a basic skirt pattern with high waistband. If you are new to my channel, you are most welcome. I post videos on this channel every week. Kindly subscribe, like and share. Thank you. So to get started, you're going to need your skirt length measurement. You will need your waist circumference measurement and your hip circumference measurement. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do now is to your starting point, and that will be your waistline. So I'm just going to draw an horizontal line like this. So this will be the waistline. So once you draw that line, then you measure your skirt length, and I'll be using my measurement. So my skirt length is 22 inches. So I'm just going to mark that 22 inches from the waistline like so. Then I will draw that horizontal line again. So this will be the M line. So once you've done that, you can label this as the center front for the skirt. So the next thing you want to do is to divide your hip circumference by 4. So my hip circumference is 40. So dividing it by 4, I will have 10 inches. So on the waistline, I'm just going to mark 10 inches. I will mark it on the waistline, then I will mark it on the M line like that. Then I will square a vertical line just to connect these two horizontal lines together. Like that. So the next thing you want to do now is to measure your hip line from your waistline. So the hip line is usually between 8 and 9 inches. So I'll be using 8.5 inches for this. So I'm just marking 8.5 inches in order to find my hip line. So this is it. Then I will square that horizontal line again and label it as the hip line. So now that we have all the vertical and the horizontal line in place, the next thing now is to input our measurement. So I will start from the waistline. So you divide your waist circumference by 4. So your waist circumference, you divide it by 4. I will have 8 inches in my own case. Then you mark that 8 inches. Then you're going to add 1 inch that allowance to it. So I'll just mark that 1 inch like this. I'm not going to add any extra seam allowance. I will add that after drafting this pattern. So this is the dart allowance, and this is the actual waist measurement. So to the hip line now, this is the hip circumference measurement divided by 4. So I will just cross check again. So I have 10 inches. So once you have this, the next thing you want to do is to connect the waistline to the hip line, just like this. So once you have this, then we want to place the dart. So to place the dart, you will need your bust distance measurement. So that is the nipple to nipple measurement. So in my own case, my bust distance is 8. So dividing it by 2, I will have 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark 4 inches. So the length of the dart for the front skirt is different from the length of the dart for the back skirt. So for the front skirt, the length is 4 inches. So I'll just mark 4 inches. Then I will draw that line. Then that 1 inch you added for the dart, you will need to place it here. That means you will have half an inch at both sides. So I'm just marking half an inch, and then you connect it to this point in order to create your dart. So the next thing now is to come to your waistline, and then from this line you will need to go up by 1/4 inch. So I'll just mark that like this. Then I will join it. I will connect the points together. So once you've done that, the next thing is to connect this point to your waistline at the center front. So I'm just going to use this curved ruler to do that. So just like that, the next thing now is to add seam allowance to our pattern. So at the hemline, I'm going to add 1 inch to the hemline. So for the side seam and the waistline, I will be adding half an inch seam allowance. So you can add depending on the allowance you want for your skirt. There is no standard rule for that. So you can add up to 1 inch, you can add up to 2 inches. So I'll be adding just half an inch to this pattern, round like that, and then to the waistline I will add half an inch as well. So to create the back skirt, all you need to do is just to use the front to trace it out. So at the waistline, you can just fold it. You fold this place like this. Then you place it on another pattern paper, just like I have here. So as you can see it, then you trace it out. You add the allowance, you add the hemline allowance to it. And also I've added the zip allowance to it. So I use 2 inches for the zip allowance. So once you've done that, you can put the front aside. The next thing you want to do is to place the back dart. And to do that, it's just like we did for the front. You use your nipple to nipple measurement. So that is 4 inches. You just mark it. The difference between the back dart and the front dart is that the back dart is longer than the front. So for the front we use 4 inches. For the back you are going to use 5.5 inches. So that is what you will use for the back. So I'm just marking 5.5 inches, and that is the standard measurement. Then you square that line. You do the same thing. You use 1 inch dart allowance. So that means you have half an inch at both sides. Then you draw that leg. So just like this. So once you've placed the dart, the next thing you want to do is you go up by 3/4 inch at this part. So just like this, you mark 3/4 inch up like that. Then I will just connect that. And at the waistline for the back, you mark half an inch down. So just like I'm marking it here. So this is what you will do. You mark half an inch here. You go up by 3/4 inch at the side. So once you've done that, the next thing now is you connect this together. So I'll be using this curved ruler. And through to the zip allowance. So just like this. And once you've done that, the next thing now is to add seam allowance to it. So I will add that half an inch to it. So now that we have the front and the back skirt block, as you can see it, the next thing we want to do is to create the high waistband. And creating the high waistband, it means that we want to extend the height of the skirt above the natural waistline. So I'm going to start with the front, and the first thing you want to do is you need to close this dart, because we are not going to add that to the band. So all you need to do is just to fold the darts. So you close the dart like this, so you can see the dart. So once you close this, I will use this as the center front, just like I have here. Then I'm just going to, I will trace this out. So once you trace it to the edge, then you determine the length you want for the band. So I'll be using 3 inches for this pattern. So you mark that 3 inches like this, and then you draw a straight line this time around, not a curved line. So it's going to be straight like this. So whatever you measure there, you will need to measure it round the waistline. So like I'm doing now. So I'm just marking that 3 inches, because you want to have the same shape like this. Then I will connect those points. Then I'm just going to add ½ an inch seam allowance. So this is the front skirt waistband. Then I will grab the back also. So for the back, you will do the same thing. You will need to close the 1 inch dart. Then you follow the same method with the front. Then I will cut it out. So this is what we arrived at, and these are the waistband. So for the waistband, once you cut on the fabric and you sew the darts, so the waistband will fit perfectly to the skirt, as you can see it. So you will use that ½ an inch seam allowance to join it together. So you can see it. And the same thing goes with the back. So once you sew the darts, it's going to fit perfectly. So just like this. And then when you want to cut on the fabric, you're going to need 2 pieces for this, and you will need 2 pieces for the front. So the reason why you need to cut 2 pieces for each of these is because you will need one to turn the other one. So that will serve as facing for it. And once you turn it, for instance, you use this to turn this one, then you will fix it to the basic skirt. So this is how to draft a basic skirt pattern with high waistband. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions or any pattern you would like me to make, kindly drop it at the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to do so. Then I will see you again in my next video. Bye.